Alrighty, so I'm back with another update. Alright, it's been a week since the last one, and I have gotten a lot of stuff done. I actually recorded a video yesterday, but that's not going to get posted. So, what have I done since the last update? So, since the last update, I got all of this done. So let's just go from the bottom and then work our way up. I won't get into the nitty-gritties of it, but it's getting there. Okay, so right here, I just added some preloaders, so those little loading icons on just about everything in our DB, as well as I set up the filter API, which the filter is not done on the front end, but the API is done. So yeah, that's pretty simple stuff. Filter API is just going to be filtering the albums. I'll show you guys. So as you can see, those loading spinners right there. So there's loading spinners on each of the albums as well as the grid itself. And then here will be our filter components. And then I'll have this filter on whenever this is changed. But right now it's just not done yet. And we'll also have one on artist over here, right? And obviously, as you can see, I've changed up the UI a bit, but we'll get to that in a second. All right, so moving on, user profile API. So I started working on the user profile API, and essentially what that's doing is, to get that to work, I had to make a couple of different views inside of SQL. I had to come in here, and I kind of had to not cheat, but my SQL queries aren't the cutest, they're not the sexiest views of all, but we do have a couple of cool stuff. As you can see, you have user albums, user artists, artist stats, user album likes. So with that, let's see if I just hop in here, you can kind of see. So this would be user, all the likes the users have in the database. And the reason I said it's not the prettiest is because technically speaking, we would just need these 3 columns here. And then we can kind of extrapolate all this info here based on these 3 columns, the indexes. But the way I have mine set up at the moment is that when I call this table, I want it to give me all of this information, these 4 columns, as well as the URLs. So that way it's a lot easier for me to handle that stuff on the front end. Okay. So as well as this artist stats table, and that's this artist stats is kind of bringing in everything in our database. So that's giving us the amount of followers they have, which is not done in the slightest, the amount of favorites they have in total, and the amount of likes they have in total, as well as their average album rating, as well as a score. So if you come in here, I have this little equation to find the score for each artist, and then on the front end, I'm converting that score into a grade, like a letter grade. So I think that's pretty cool. So each artist will have a score, and each album will have a score as well. So I think that's pretty cool. All right. So then I came in here and I got the user profile working dynamically based on what they've liked and already favorited inside of the database. So let me come in here really quickly to uncomment this out. The only reason I have this commented out is because I'm reaching my 20,000 request limit, and I don't want to waste requests before Amazon starts charging me money. So let's go ahead and hit save, and I'll show you what the home page is starting to look like. So we will have our top albums up here. So depending on which albums you favorited, they're gonna rank these by rating. So this is 84 and this is 80. But if I come in here and I tap favorite and then I add a big rating on here, you're gonna see this come to this spot because we have a favorite in the database as well as a highly rated album. That did not work. Shit. Oh, actually, I know why it didn't work. Because I unfavorited it. It makes sense. If we just come in here, right, and we do this, and then we click reload, there it is, because it has a high grade, it has a high rating rather, as well as we have a favorite. And then down here, I'll have all the albums you've recently liked kind of show on this grid. And if you remember, I want to scroll sideways, but that's kind of what it'll look like here in a second. Okay. As well as I had to kind of tweak some of the views to get it to work correctly. And then yesterday, oddly enough, all I did was add content to our app, as well as put things on a nice grid. And what I mean by adding content is just, let me show you. Let me hop in here. I literally spent maybe an hour or 2 hours, I don't know, just typing all of this stuff in by hand, as well as finding images, saving images, and then linking those images into my S3 bucket. All of this stuff by hand, and because of that, now we have, so this is that same thing I've been working on, I've had for a very long time, but now it's pulling out of context, and it has all of the images we have. So that looks pretty damn cool. As well as this is going to be that artist score we saw on the table. And then this over here is going to be the total amount of interactions they have. So if we hop back in here really quickly, we'll see Kanye has 12 favorites and 10 likes. But right here it's 1210. That's just because right now it's concatenating because I have it in there as a string. So I just need to have that in there as a number, and then they'll just add together, and then it'll show the amount of interactions they have, as well as over here will be the followers whenever I get that up and running. And then I also want a artist modal to open up when you click on it. But for now, this is a good, really nice looking placeholder, I think. Okay, so now and then also in this grid, I changed up the modal. So as you can see here, I also added a ton more albums in here. But you can also see the modal is showing the artist image to the left and the album image to the right, and it's all sitting on a grid. So right now it's looking really nice, a lot better than it was before. Also, it has accurate length, and like I said, it converts that score to a grade. And then this, right now, this is showing like this because I have it set up as a date object, when I really and truly just want the release year because I'm too lazy to find out the exact release date. So I just need to change that in SQLize, and it'll show. I probably can just store it as an integer, even though it's kind of cheating. And it'll just show the release year instead of showing it as this. And then you also may have noticed, which is what I was getting done today, was the edit states. It's not all the way done, but I did get a lot of progress done on it today, and it's something that I've been putting off doing for quite a bit. And so let me show you. So if I come in here, right, so we see there's no favorites, there's no likes, there's no reviews, but there is a rating, right? And so what it's doing is when I open up this modal, it's shooting out an API request, and it's basically saying, hey, Mr. Database, do we have any kind of, let's see if I can't find it. So basically what it's doing is I'm setting this edit state object. I'm creating this edit state object. Everything is null by default. And then I'm basically just checking, do we have a review for that album in the database? If we do, set it to the review, right? Do we have a rating? If we do, set it to the rating. Do we have a favorite? If we do, just turn it to true. Do we have a like? If we do, turn it to true. So that shoots out a couple of requests. And as you can see here, we don't have a favorite, we don't have a like, but we do have a rating. And then what we do is, if we have a rating, we retrieve that rating, and then we just plug it in right here. So now if I go ahead and hit 90, it will update for me, right? And then I can reload the page, and we'll see that new rating appear here, as well as this update rating. Now if I come into add review, I can say Rodeo is a good album, right? I can come in here and say this, submit, hit reload, click on Rodeo, and now it's going to say update review instead of add review because it knows the review we have in the database. And then if we go ahead and type something else in, reload, we can see that same review. So that's pretty damn cool. The other thing that I got done is, let's see how this has 0 favorites and 0 likes. Obviously, we know we can like and favorite it. Let's do this one. Right, so let's reload again. Shouts 20,000 requests, right? So now I can also, and then let's just hit the dev tool so you guys can see it happening. All right. So now if I go ahead and hit, right, so you can see that post request going out. So it basically is, this album's 40, and then we're just gonna get this response of saying, what review did we have? What rating did we have? We have a favorite in the days. We have a like in the database, right? And then when I hit this, since we already have one, the only thing I need to work on is that if we have one, I want this to be filled already, as opposed to just the outline. And it's a lot harder than it looks. So I was messing with it for like 20-30 minutes earlier today, and I just couldn't figure it out. But if I click on this, it's gonna go and delete that favorite from the database. So we click the star, and we're gonna see it sends a patch request, and 204 no content. That's fine. And then all we do is we delete that favorite. So now we're gonna hit reload one last time, and we can see that favorite is gone from the database. So that's pretty cool. Also, this whole grid is obviously I'm going to have this filter component, but right now it's the default sort is rating. So if I come in here and I say add rating, right, and I say 50, I hit submit, right? So now I believe I only have one other rating on a different test account. So now this should be 75. But let's come in here and say add rating to this guy, and then we're gonna do 100. Let's try to find one without a rating in there already. So as we can see, conditional rendering, and we'll say 100 for this guy. So now we're gonna click refresh, and we should see 808s pop up towards the front. We should see Dua Lipa pop towards the back, and let's see what happens. Right, so 808 is the first one because it has the highest average rating, and Dua Lipa comes down here because now the average rating is 75. Because I only have 2 ratings in the database for it. And now we can hop in here really quickly. Album reviews. We can open this up. Oh wait, no. Album ratings rather. And we can see that this is the rating I just made for that 808s and Heartbreak album, right? Now if we come to update it at, we can see what I just did for this Dua Lipa album over here, right? This Dua Lipa album. So yeah. And as you can see, those reviews that we were messing with earlier are over here, as well as the updated at is not the exact same as the created at, right? So all pretty cool stuff. And you can see the grade changes dynamically based on that score of the album. And the score is just, it's calculated by how many likes, favorites, and then the rating it has. And then I convert it to a letter grade. So this is a B. This should be an A. This is an A. I believe I have an S rank in there as well, but I don't know if any of these will get to S rank. So B, nothing in here yet. Yeah. So the reason these don't have scores is because I believe it has to have a rating to calculate the score. All right. So once I get these guys working, I'm going to replace this with that dynamic component, the scorecard component, so that way you can go ahead and like and favorite from this home page rather than having to click the Modal, because I think that's really good for user experience. So yeah, so once I get this working fully, I'll just bring this back here. And then there are obviously some things that I do need to work on, like when I click on review, I want this to maybe disappear and have this be up here because this white space is hideous. So just a couple more cosmetic things, and then I need to make a collection so that way I can see reviews over here. So yeah, I'm really getting close to the end now. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this homepage, but all of the API stuff is mainly done. All of the API stuff is mainly done. It's going to look really cool to see all the albums you've recently liked. I might have this favorite on this kind of carousel. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I was just playing around with some different grids. As far as on small pages, obviously I've kind of already lost that battle on making it responsive, but that's okay. I don't really care. And then finally, this Discover page will be home to our little recommendation engine. But yeah, it's really close to being done now. I'm really happy with what it's looking like. It's really coming together. I need to fix this, but you know, it's looking nice. I really like how this page has turned out. It looks super clean. You know, all of these artist images are in here. As far as this goes, I like how this looks, but obviously we'll need to change this up. But it's looking really, really, really nice right now, and I'm pretty happy with that. So that has been the last few updates. What else? What else is there to talk about? The last thing I'll check is this profile, I guess. All it's doing is we're shooting out a couple of different API responses, and then we're just sending it back as profile. Pretty simple. Yeah, that's the video. That's the update.